Yeah, I mean, at this point, this is so real and so sickening and so painful that I don't have any personal ties to Trump other than I've talked to him, 10 times or whatever. It's just, I know he's real. He cares about the country. He's surrounded by scum. It's like watching a baby getting eaten by 100 rats or something. And because we won't empower the president, he's like a baby. He can't move because he can't do it all himself. And the rats are like eating him. It's not like a lion being eaten by hyenas. It's worse. It's a baby. The rebirth of America being eaten by these little red-eyed rats. And he's just surrounded. We need a battle plan. So Dr. Corsi was texting me this morning, saying we got to get a battle plan. We got to get on the offensive. And I was saying, yeah, battle plan, battle plan. So he's writing articles about this. This is just so crazy. But they're all in. The globalist leftists are all in. What is your intel there as our D.C. head and Dr. Corsi? What do we do to turn this tide? Because it's clear more than ever. They are making their run at the president right now.
Well, and Alex, what I'm doing is the first article is today. I mean, this is something I've been specially trained in, this whole issue of disinformation and propaganda. I actually was trained by Edward Bernays, who is the father of public relations. And he wrote the book called Propaganda in the 1930s that was responsible for the Goebbels propaganda and the rise of Nazi Hitler. And so, Nazi Germany. And what I'm saying is I'm laying out the techniques that work and don't work when you're under a disinformation propaganda technique. This has been studied, there's rules, and if Trump follows these rules, he's going to win. Now, the first rule, and what I wrote up today, is that the idea is you create a false narrative, a meme, and this meme is Russian collusion. The Trump,
and you just keep propping that lie up.
And yes, and there's no evidence for it. Okay, we've had repeated statements from Senator Feinstein, who May 4th.
Sure, there's no evidence. I mean, we've got that.
There's no evidence.
We got that from Schiff, all of them.
Yeah, and but that doesn't defeat the meme, because you see, Schiff then says, well, it's not a, there's circumstantial evidence, and we may have not discovered it yet, but we're going to find it. So a meme, a lie, a propaganda disinformation campaign is not defeated by information or the truth. It's a hard point to get across. But I mean, if you take a look and you say that Hitler's attacking the Jews under these...
Sure, it's like Saul Alinsky. It's hard to defeat him just debating him with the facts.
Yeah, and the more facts you adduce, even if you're right, it just extends the argument.
It adds the snowball. Instead, you circumvent and attack the fact that Alinsky's a piece of crap.
Right, and so, the basic corollaries are that, if you take a look at it, dealing with it, first is the facts are not going to work because they just say you're part of a conspiracy theory, that you don't believe the truth of the Russian collusion story. So they demonize you and you become part of a conspiracy theory. And second, the second corollary is basically that, no matter how anyone who attempts to prove this, who tries to stand up and say, wait a minute, it was Hillary that was part of the being paid over the uranium, or it was Podesta being paid in stock over this company, Jolie. Well, now you're just part of the conspiracy theory, and the mainstream media is never going to report anything that's contrary to the meme that is being put out, the narrative by the deep state and the mainstream media, who are determined to set this lie.
Exactly. So you were trained to be able to counter these type of foreign government operations. We did work for the State Department. First time we ever talked about this, I know you were involved in it. You've also written best-selling books that have affected elections, so you're an expert on using what was the ultimate propaganda weapon, truth. But how do we deal with memes, total manufactured false reality paradigms? Because if you debate the false paradigm, you add energy and power to it. How do you circumvent it?
Well, first of all, I mean, the first point I'm writing in this article is that you've got to understand that you're not going to beat this by facts. You're not going to beat it by proving that it was wrong. That never makes it go away to the true believers of the meme, to the lie.
I say we get on the offense with all the crimes they've committed and go after them.
Yeah, no amount of, so let's go after Hillary. Let's go after Podesta. This is not true. There's no evidence. The meme still continues. Now, the subsequent articles, what I'm going to show is how you gain control of the narrative again, how you recapture the narrative, take it out of the hands of the deep state, and how you take it over from the mainstream media. What Trump is not doing very well right now is he's not managing the news. Trump has lost control of the news.
He used to be on the news constantly. They told him to be presidential, give up your phone, back off so they can eat him alive. What does Trump need to do right now?
Well, the first thing, the next article is going to be, I'm just drafting it now, we'll have it up tomorrow, is that Trump has got to basically take over the narrative by impacting, doing something that changes the narrative altogether. For instance,
he's trying by saying jobs and you know,
yes,
and stopping terror, but he needs to, how does he change the narrative on this specifically?
Well, let me give you an example.
Like indict Hillary Clinton?
I want to give you an example. I don't want to completely give away the article from tomorrow. I want to do this step by step so it sinks in. But when Trump, for instance, had the missile attack, the cruise missile attack on Syria, everything about Russia stopped.
That was an example of how he changed the subject.
He changed the subject. And Trump has got to figure out some ways. And I'm going to give tomorrow's article a whole series of effective ways in which Trump can change the subject. Now, this is really a methodology. I'm laying out a plan. I mean, this is stuff that's been proven. The State Department has done it. It's been proven by the experts in the CIA. I've studied it for 30, 40 years. How you basically change the subject, silence the press, get some time to reorganize the government, and take control.
I agree. We'll all be tuned in tomorrow when you're here and read the next article. Give us the name of the current article you wrote today. Which one should we point out to folks?
Well, the one that's up there right now, the deep state mainstream media pushes a coup d'etat against Trump, that the elites want him impeached.
That needs to go totally viral.
It's important to understand that the purpose of this meme, the reason this whole Russian collusion argument is being advanced, is the deep state and the mainstream media think it's the kind of a big lie, a Hitler big lie. You know, the Jews are behind a conspiracy destroying Germany. The Jews are a deficient race, eugenics, all a lie. But that lie can be made into a big enough false truth.
A whole new cosmology.
Yes. And that's what will take down Trump. That's the bet. That's the gambit.
And they're betting everything they got on it.
And what I'm saying is, first of all, you're not going to defeat this false NEM, this lie, by proving it's untrue, because that just reinforces.
No, I agree, because we argue all day. It was like the other big lie. Oh, he gave the Russians secrets. No, it was all laptop news known 2 months ago. But then we just debate it. They don't care. They want to engage us in their false paradigm.
And that's right. As soon as we're debating it, we lose. As soon as we debate it,
so we just say you're a bunch of traitorous liars. And we move on to the fact that he's trying to turn the economy back on. And you just, I mean, I know you want to get to your ideas tomorrow, but give us a little prelude.
Well, I mean, tomorrow it's basically, I'm going to propose a series of steps that Trump can take, which would change the subject. And you've got one coming up. He's going to take this foreign trip, which is going to be a major foreign trip.
Hey, why doesn't he just arrest some Russian spies? Because, I mean, sad for the Russians, but they got, you know what, they got spies here. Why not just, like, arrest some of them or something?
I don't know. Maybe it's because,
maybe that feeds into it, though.
Some have been
it fits
murdered.
Into
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. What?
You've got to go outside the theme. You've got to get
No, I agree. That's why I said that. So what's outside the theme? You bust Hillary for being a Chinese agent? We know that. That's true.
No, but these are all within the same kind of refuting the evidence argument. You got to leapfrog it. You got to forget about the
total new universe.
You change it by saying, okay, we're going on a foreign trip. You know, there's a whole series of steps he can take. I'm going to discuss some foreign policy steps he can take. I'm going to discuss some executive orders. There's steps and ways that he can gain control of the narrative, the agenda. He's got to make the deep state and the mainstream media follow him rather than lead him. And right now they're leading him with this.
And he's always been great on that. Why, once he suddenly got in 50, 60 days, did suddenly he stop leading the narrative? What happened?
Well, they're very good at this, the mainstream media, and they laid the trap. Hillary laid the trap, saying that it was the Russians who did it. You know, even the evidence that the Seth Rich had 44,000 emails to WikiLeaks, that doesn't refute the Russian collusion argument. You can't win that argument with the propagandist. You're not going to win on that one. They're going to win that. They're going to beat you. They're going to convince, you know, the people who hate you that, you know, the Jews are all evil and we need to kill them all. It's a complete lie. It's total propaganda. It's evil. But that's the same nature of argument that the Russian collusion argument fits into, and you can't beat it logically. You can't beat it with facts.
I agree.
Once
You only
get that
beat
through
it
your
by
head-
pointing out what the globalists are actually doing and making it an issue of what they've done with our own narrative. So what of all the things they're doing that are harmful, what are the true narratives that we go after them on? I say this, they're trying to plunge the economy. I knew last night this was going to plunge the economy. I said it.
Alex, there's no argument you can use that will win. You have to transcend argument. There's not going to be magic formula. There's not going to be an argument that's a magic bullet. They're set up to beat every argument you could advance against this NEM. You know, so when they go down the Goebbels path of proving that the Jews are a deficient race, and they've all got to be killed, which was a horrendous, horrible, evil idea, it couldn't be stopped with arguments about the brilliance of Einstein.
It had to be stopped with bombs?
It's got to be stopped by techniques.
No, I know. I'm just saying we had to end up, it went too far. It had to be military. Yeah, so we'll talk about those techniques tomorrow. When do you want to come on? We're on 11 to 3 Central, 12 noon to 4 p.m.?
On early tomorrow. I want to come on early tomorrow.
All right, how about 12:30 Eastern?
That's good. We'll do that.
Well, I got to tell you, Trump's a good guy. He's a smart guy. But isn't it proof how good he is, how all the evil people hate him?
And if we follow through this, we're going to lay out a plan that Trump can follow, and I guarantee he's going to listen to it and he's going to hear it.
Hey, let me ask you this when we come back, because I talked to some sources. We'll do 5 more minutes with you, and Cernovich is coming up. We'll host a little bit with Cernovich, though. Let me ask you this when we come back. The word is Rupert Murdoch has now decided to join with Trump. That's the word. He's finally, for some reason, is going to flip back. Something's happened. Now, is that disinfo? It comes from the White House.
FBI investigation was into Fox. That might have stopped.
So people don't care if the stock market crashes. They don't have jobs. They don't care if it's all lies. At least our listeners care. We're talking about the people that don't. So Dr. Corsi's talking about how we wake up people with a whole other narrative that's truth-based but circumnavigates this lie. But separately, I've got White House sources that say that Trump never knew until recently that indeed Kushner had met with the Russian ambassador early in the campaign, a year and a half ago, or almost a year and a half ago, early 2016. We know the Russian bank met, but now it's the ambassador. That's a separate issue. Then we've got the other intel from the White House that Rupert Murdoch has told Trump on a Sunday phone call, you need to fire almost everybody and stop this personnel takeover that's about to happen. And that Fox has been on the fence about all this, but now I think Fox sees a third of their viewers being lost. This claim by his sons they could convert to liberal garbage and still keep their viewers failed. But all I was given was the Kushner information and the information about the situation with the president, and now that Rupert Murdoch saying, look, I'm on your side. Is that BS? Why would he say that? But it is good advice he's giving Trump. What do you make of this, Dr. Corsi?
Well, I think that's all good advice. And I think what's happening with Murdoch is that Murdoch has realized that he's not going to capture a liberal audience. There is no liberal audience. MSNBC has got the entire audience. I mean, you know, when you think about it, Alex, you've got the leaders in the cable network drawing about 600,000 people. I mean, InfoWars is a major challenge on net streaming.
We conservatively have 1 million viewers an hour.
Precisely. And, you know, this is what's not recognized. The left, between MSNBC and CNN, how are you going to get further left than these two? And the idea that you're going to have Sky News, which I've watched many times in Europe and in the Great Britain, you know, is okay, but it's international pablum. It's you know, it's like listening to National Public Radio, all things considered. You know, it's got a nice little sweet harmony to it, but it's not the news people want. People want InfoWars. They want conservative, libertarian analysis. They want the truth.
And more importantly, they want real analysis, not being fed BS. We talk to the listeners just like it's us talking, high-level analysis. It's not, we tell you how it is like you're 5 years old.
Not hive mind.
Well, and what I'm giving you here in these articles I'm going to write is the most internal, highly classified generally, except I'm not using classified information, but these are techniques that were developed by the CIA, by the State Department, by the intelligence agencies going back to the 50s and 60s.
I was about to say, I mean, I knew you did a lot of this work, but I never, why are you telling people now? It shows how much trouble the country's in.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm bringing it out today because I think if Trump doesn't understand these principles, the left will have him impeached because they're using the
And that's what Colonel Schaefer, who knows this classified stuff, said as well. He said, we're in a total info war. They plan to bring him down. He's got to fight back.
And he's got to fight back with techniques that work, not just, yes, let's bring out the truth. Let's counter all this with the fact that, Hillary, et cetera. But Comey has not ever prosecuted a single leaker. Okay, there's been dozens of them. It's a politicalization of
Well, we are coming down to George Washington level disinfo. I've never used disinfo or lies. The country's on its last legs. The Democrats admit they're using lies. They've said that in the New York Times. Are you saying we're finally getting to the point where we just absolutely take the gloves off at that point?
Yeah, we're taking the gloves off by beating them with techniques that they have no way to respond to. In other words, rather than playing their game, we're going to use what's been proved over 50 or 60 years to be the only way to counter propaganda. The Democrats are just like the Nazis. They're engaged in a propaganda technique.
They really are.
It's disinformation. It's the same thing the Russians did, Soviets did. It's disinformation. And disinformation is very powerful, and it's very tough to defeat. You have to use the right techniques. They want you to argue with it on facts. They want you to say there's no information to prove it. That won't stop them. That just fuels them.
It's like a slow Loris attack. They just keep repeating the lie and control you by making you in judo engage them. To 11 a.m., 12 noon tomorrow, Dr. Corsi. We can't wait. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Right.
In ancient times, man roamed the earth in a constant state of hunting or being hunted. Introducing Caveman, where cutting-edge science meets ancient super nutrients. Secure your bottle right now at InfoWarsStore.com.